appreciate y'all chilling and politicking and paying attention because it's real vital. You heard me? Trench Talk TV. So that's what it's gonna sound like. It ain't gonna sound like nothing sugarcoat. It ain't gonna sound like what you want to hear. It's gonna be Trench Talk.
So you done did songs with Boo. You go to jail. You running a Magic. Y'all form a relationship.
Nah, no, I don't want to get it wrong because that's twisting it. I got out and did them songs with Boo because like I met Trill and then went in.
Gotcha.
Then like got out, did like this. Well, I met Boo and Donkey.
You had to record them songs.
Yeah, and then went in, and then the song recording process came after Magic. All song recording process came after Magic, except with leading them, because they was orchestrating it.
Right.
Like with anybody else orchestrating, writing came into play. Because that was the only way you was able to record if you had that tablet reading it off that tablet.
Gotcha.
So, they wasn't finna let you freestyle and waste time because, you was on time clocks then. So, like, all the recording came in after I met Magic because Magic was the one, writing was, he the one told me to start writing songs.
All right.
So I got out and met Turk and Mel and re-met Boo.
You done re-met Boo. You see y'all recording. You Turk and Mel playing in the background. What is it that kept you and Boosie's relationship going forward at that point? Music, like how y'all got
streets?
back? How y'all got back?
The streets?
Always the streets. That was a common fact.
Because I was like the uptown hero and he was like the bottom hero. And we was on two different levels, but in the streets, it was the same because like I had the South locked since the game room. The game room was gone when Boo came.
Right.
Like that was CeeLo thing, but about time Boo came, the game room was gone.
He was the start of a new era.
Yeah, so he couldn't really get into that. But as far as in the streets, my mark was already made, and he knew like he could come to me. So it was like dice games, I'm like, come on, Boo. Like that's Boo. Ain't nobody finna, he was trying to hold his own, but I'm like, nah, ain't nobody finna. And like he needed wheels and like tires for his rims, and I'd be having them because I'm up in the top, but I'm hustling. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, once I got in my 20s, I started stacking. So I'm like, it's all good. I was hustling, fronting like I was rapping. But hustling was doing all the taking care of me. That's why I had a problem.
Was financing your career.
Right. That's why I had a problem with my situation because I knew that I had to hustle to keep that up, and that was going. In any given time, I lose my position because I had to hustle to keep it up, and I had done lost it a couple times already.
All right. So, at what point do we start getting these same old shit, this politician networking? At what point did we start getting these hits that we know to love you so much for today?
When I got out, I want to say this was when I got out in 05 or 04. It could have been, depends. I can't really remember.
Right.
But Touchdown to Cause Hell was the first one because Boo had been in jail for about a weekend or something, or a week. But I had just did like 3 years, like close to 3 years. And it was now or never. Like I had already did a couple songs with Trill, Girl Go Ahead, and the ones with Boo. So it was like at this point it's now or never. So I'm like, well, okay, if it's now or never, with a Cheddar. So they was like, oh, it's coming, it just ain't came yet. Like, ain't none of us got it yet, you just in time.
Right.
So I'm like, oh shit, let's do it. So, I'm killing the studio, like, Girl Go Ahead, Give Me That Pussy and Bad Bitch were right there. Because I was in jail when they dropped Gangsta Music. But Bad Bitch and Give Me That Pussy was on Gangsta Music. but they also was gonna put it on Webby's album because those were the songs that the big labels bid on. So
go ahead.
it wasn't about them putting Boosie behind Webby. It was about, okay, you put out ghetto stories, you put out gangster music, and we as a big label say we want to get behind Give Me That Pussy and Bad Bitch. We'll get behind Boosie too, but right now we want to get behind this. And it was like from that they telling us y'all gotta open the doors up for each other.
Man, how was it moving around with them guys at that time? I know you were in and out of jail. Actually, how much of that traveling or that back then I believe they used to reference it as a chitlin circuit or something like that?
Right. The chitlin circuit. I call it the mud industry now. I'm glad you called it the chitlin circuit because now I call it the mud industry, and I'm gonna try to create a whole mud industry for people from in that bracket, in those cities, in those states, in those trenches, to have top-notch, events and have put enough of them together where they have a chance to make some money and get up out of that hole, get their followers up, get their Instagrams and all that working, and try to provide a whole mud industry. So I'm glad you said that, but that's coming.